Yeah, we were opining a bit about the Ryder Cup, and Patrick, you said something. I think you said, "See you later, JT." So, is that your official endorsement of Denny McCarthy over Justin Thomas for the Americans?
Justin Thomas is going to be on the team. Okay, that is not lost on me. He's built up his resume, his Ryder Cup resume, especially stellar. But I think Denny McCarthy deserves some consideration. But you can soundbite it. See you later, JT. I don't care.
Stand by it, man. Die on that hill. Look, first off, did you guys see what JT was wearing to Wimbledon today? Yeah. That's a pretty confident dude to pull that outfit off. Anyhow, look, yes, we had this conversation over dinner last night, and it was, I won't name my colleagues, but it was a selection.
Well, we can narrow them down, I think.
Well, it wasn't all of the announcers. And the debate was had. And I was like, right now, if I'm Zach Johnson, I'm like, this is a tough decision because JT is currently 12th on the list. And people are like, yeah, we'd honestly go with Denny with the way he's playing. But what is going in Justin's is kind of like, look, his record for one, and then the fact that he and Jordan Spieth are like an immovable force. And to split them apart with their couples record would be asinine, because I've said this time and time again, the President's Cup, the Ryder Cup, these are team matches except for one day of singles. So to find, look at them. I mean, they've broke out the fineries. He actually had a little hat on, even JT. I was like, wow, go boy. Anyway, so it's a couples thing, and you can see him there with his boy Jordan, and those two are so good together. So if there's one reason why JT makes the team right now, unless he really finds some form fast, some better form, that is, it's because he and Jordan are just so good together.
I think another key thing for the American side is, even though there's so much star power on the team, they don't have a ton of experience on European soil. You think about Scotty, Colin, Cantlay, Xander. They haven't played a European Ryder Cup team. So having JT and Spieth kind of spearheading that locker room could prove to be invaluable.
I will need that.
Yeah. So sorry, Greg. I'll say this real quick and then I'll shut up. I've watched Denny McCarthy now in the final round at Memorial, where I was just endorsing him in the biggest way. I was singing his praises. I called him some yesterday afternoon. I was supposed to call him today until Sepp went bananas on the front nine. And Denny McCarthy, he's that guy on the playground that gets up in your face. He's never going to back down. And then he backs it up, right? He can hit it, and match play is a putting contest, and Lord knows he can putt it. And if you're just looking at skill on the greens or ability or results, whatever you want to call it, it's not a contest between him and Justin Thomas. But now both of them, they've got the same sort of attitude where they're all up for you. They got that like junkyard dog thing about them. So Denny, if he did make the team, he would not be a weak link whatsoever, because the boy has game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really hard decision to make, and part of the reason too is, who would you pick at the Open Championship? I know Justin Thomas doesn't have a very good record there. I'm not expecting great things, but would you be more surprised if Denny McCarthy won the Open or if Justin Thomas won the Open? And then second to that, sometimes these really good players, all the best player, the stars of the game are the stars of the game because of what they do when they don't have their best stuff. And, looking at, as we sit here in July with the Ryder Cup coming up in September, looking at Denny's best stuff, which I think he's showing us, if it's not his best, it's really darn close to his best golf. And you're comparing it to Justin Thomas's worst golf. And to say that in September, the situation is going to be the same, I think is a little bit extreme. And then you add into the mix the Jordan Spieth conversation. I think it's really hard to leave Justin Thomas off that team. For someone like Denny McCarthy, who I'm a huge fan of and love. But I think it's a really risky call if you're in Zach Johnson's shoes to do that.
Yeah, but I hear your point, but it's situational, right? So I wouldn't call it Justin Thomas's worst golf. He's not putting well at all. And if you're not putting well, that filters through the game. And it has had an effect on some of the iron shots he's hit, and so the numbers are down. but it's about who's playing well, whether it's your best or your worst. It's who's putting up the numbers. And it's a compelling argument right now. And I'm keen to see how this thing plays out. Suffice it to say, I believe we will be seeing Justin Thomas playing events like 3M and Wyndham and these sorts of things, events he's ducked in the past.
Yeah, I agree with that, because if you're Zach Johnson, JT's in all likelihood going to find a way to get inside the top 70. I think we can all agree with that.
Well, he's projecting 70 right now. You know that, huh?
But
Yeah,
if you're Zach Johnson,
tight.
say he doesn't make the playoffs, you make your pick after the Tour Championship, you won't have seen JT in competition for like a month.
Yikes.
And Denny's projecting well inside the top 30 right now. I think he's like projecting 15th or something.
It's a very valid point. JT's got to make the playoffs.
If JT doesn't make the playoffs, he should remove his name from consideration for the Ryder Cup.
I don't disagree with that.
He might be the first player to be picked for the Ryder Cup who hasn't made the playoffs.
It would be insane.
He should volunteer as a vice captain, just to, for the good of the team.
Volunteer.
Take him on as a vice captain.